Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done.
Buenos dias, mi amigos. Welcome back. Good morning. Good morning. How we doing? All right. Margin, Ponzi, Dino, Chef. What's up, Chef? Kavi, Britt, Pat. Morning, guys. Larry, CJ, the day trader. Morning, everyone. Kevin. What's going on, Kevin? A-Tech. Good morning, A-Tech. AMD. Yeah, AMD saved the markets. AMD saved the markets a little bit yesterday. Microsoft straight down, then pretty decent recovery. So what is it down net from yesterday's close? It's down about $10, $13. So just about 3%. And yeah, we got some more earnings today. We got some big FOMC action. We got some important stuff going on. So going to be interesting. Yeah, new CEO out of Boeing this morning. That's sort of interesting, right? New CEO for Boeing announced this morning. I think that is probably the right move for Boeing. I think they need to refresh that company. So, yeah, Boeing, new CEO, AMD, Microsoft earnings. Big demand holds on the downside yesterday on some key levels. The NASDAQ 18,800, that ES 5450, 5440, really strong hold in that ES demand. That SPY 539 was strong. Yeah, and then that QQQ 100 SMA below. So some nice overextension to the downside and a reversion to the mean, right? And so am I surprised to see this? Absolutely not. We've talked about this all week. Markets are going to want to stay relatively sideways, revert to the mean at all times. With such major FOMC data today, with more earnings coming out. So a reversion to the mean pretty much seems about right? Overextension down into the downside demand, held, popped, back right where we started yesterday. That's basically all we're doing every day, right? Supply rejections yesterday, opportunities on both sides, right? Beautiful supply rejection up at that QQQ high, straight down into that demand low, right back into it, right? ES, perfect supply rejection at the highs, right? Straight down, beautiful downside opportunities off the demand, straight back up. So just that channel trade continues, man. That channel trade continues. I have a lot of Nvidia. I bought some September calls yesterday on Nvidia as it approached that 100 SMA chef. So I have some September 100 calls, and I actually plan to potentially exercise those depending on what it does here, right? So yeah, definitely trying to start to think about where I want to buy Nvidia. Definitely, right? Definitely a nice 100 SMA level. Touch that $100 level. Nice psych level down there. A little bit of a pop today. I'm not fully trusting it quite yet. There's still a lot of things in the way, right, Chef? Still, FOMC, still a lot of earnings, still a lot of questions on the market. So am I like, I'm all in here on Nvidia? No. Am I going to take some shots? Yeah, absolutely. Am I going to try to buy some more shares in the low 100s? Yeah, for sure. Right, definitely. So we'll see. I think it's a great opportunity. It's 40% off the highs. I can't ask for, I'll definitely buy some shares of Nvidia when it's 40% off the highs. And people, we wanted pullbacks on Nvidia, right? Everyone that wanted to buy Nvidia shares wanted pullbacks, right? Oh my God, I need a pullback on Nvidia. Then the pullback comes in. Oh my God, I can't touch Nvidia now, right? How could I buy Nvidia now? It's going down, right? So you gotta stick to something, right? You can't be all over if you're gonna look for a pullback on Nvidia to buy some shares and you just got 40% pullback off the highs, and now you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm not gonna buy Nvidia shares. I'm too scared of it going down lower. Well, I mean, then you're probably just never gonna buy them, right? Maybe the answer to that is maybe you just shouldn't buy Nvidia because for some reason you can't build a confidence on a certain direction, right? So. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity, Chef, definitely. I mean, it's one of those opportunities when, people start getting scared, and I think that's usually the time to be looking for some buying, right? For sure. Now, does that mean we put our whole life savings into Nvidia shares? No, that's not what that means. Yeah, Nvidia shorts yesterday off 112, absolutely beautiful, Terry. Man. That was sick, and I missed it. It was just right off the open. That 112, bam, right off the open, straight down. Unfortunately, I just couldn't catch it. It was so quick. But yeah, if you caught some of that 112 rejection yesterday on Nvidia, that was sexy. I mean, just perfect, right off 112. I mean, right off our level in the pre-market live stream. We talked about this 112 level. It held there for about 7 to 8 minutes. Bam. So, yeah, I wish I got a little bit more aggressive on it. Still had a beautiful day yesterday, but this would have been just money. So, really nice. Why buy at 100 when it goes to 85? See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. Maybe if I had the magic 8 ball to know exactly where the stock went, like Cousin Vinny does, right? Then we'd all be rich, right? If we had that magic 8 ball that Cousin Vinny has, to know that Nvidia is going to 85 without a doubt, right? No questions asked. It will be at 85. If I knew that for sure, then yeah, I probably wouldn't buy it at 100. Still characters, huh? All right. So press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Big day today, guys. We got the FOMC. That's going to be an interesting one. This is probably, I know people on YouTube say this all the time. Oh my God, this is going to be the biggest. This is going to be the biggest FOMC. Yeah, I see the gap, guys. I know there's a gap from 101 to 96, but Am I not going to buy shares at 100 because I'm scared of it going to 96? I mean, come on now. Are we that scared about $4 of downside on our long-term shares? This is probably going to be a big FOMC, I'm going to assume, because there is a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty whether this is going to be a rate cut or not. It seems like it's a questionable one, right? So I don't know. We shall see. I really am not going to do anything to try to guess. Definitely not, right? I'm definitely not going to be trying to guess what happens here, but I think it's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, every FOMC is the biggest FOMC ever. Life-changing event. So either this one, the September one, right? There's definitely going to be some interesting decisions made today. So we shall see. We shall see. We also have Meta, ARM, and Qualcomm earnings. So some interesting names for the semiconductors. And that's about it. So press that like button, subscribe. Let's jump into it. Here we go. First things first, economic calendar. Let's go ahead and take a look at this, right? We can see right here, Wednesday, today. Why buy Nvidia at 96 when you can buy it at $1? So 815 ADP non-farm employment change, right? You can see right there. Employment cost index 830. So we got a little bit 815, 830. Just be aware of that. 15 minutes after open today, we got Chicago PMI. We got the pending home sales at 10 o'clock. And then 2 o'clock's the big event. So we have a pretty loaded economic calendar here, guys. We got 8:15, 8:30, 10 o'clock, and then the big event at 2:30. So interesting, right? Interesting stuff going on here today. I'd be cautious. Obviously, on every FOMC day, you want to be a little bit cautious, right? You know, you're not out here trying to hit home runs today, guys. This is the classic. This is the classic retail trader FOMO. I can't believe it's FOMC. I'm gonna make $1 million today. You know, this is where the trap just starts to set in. So, if anything, I'd say take it slow, right? Very, very heavy economic calendar, very heavy earnings calendar today. Meta is definitely a big name for the market. There's no doubt about it. And today could see multiple, sort of changes in the short term. A lot of volatility. So, just my warning, right? That's all I do. I'm just here to give you a nice, clear warning. Probably some difficult price action out there, a little bit of volatility. You got a lot of economic events that could sort of flip the intraday. So just be aware of it, okay? Just be aware of it. 8:15, 8:30, 10 o'clock home sales, 2 o'clock FOMC. Tomorrow, unemployment claims, ISM manufacturing PMI. And then Friday, we end the week with the average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and the unemployment rate. Okay? All right. Hey, guys, if you like Nvidia down at 85, sell puts, right? That's the play, okay? If you guys like Nvidia lower, if you don't want to quite buy shares right now, and you're familiar with how to sell puts, that would be the play to do it, right? That would be the play to do it. That you just start selling those downside puts. Let's say you like some shares of Nvidia at 85. Let's say you're willing to buy 100 shares down there. Sell a put, right? Sell an 85 put. If it doesn't go down to 85, you collect that premium. If it does, you get to buy the shares at 85, right? Great. That's what I would do. All right. Earnings calendar. Let's go ahead and pop that up. We can see right here. Earnings calendar. Here we go. Charts. So you guys can see right here. Meta. Or this morning, Boeing. Boeing new CEO. Very interesting, right? I think that's good for the company. I like that. I like that move. I think they need a little refresh. They need a new face of this company. So I do like the idea that Boeing did there. Feels like a sort of a weight off the shoulders potentially. Now, of course, we'll have to see what actually changes, but that's, I think, pretty good for Boeing, and we'll see how that sort of continues. There are some key levels I'll talk about today. Meta, after hours, that's going to be a big one. Meta always finds a way to cause a pretty big move on the market. So let's see what Meta does. ARM as well, interesting for the semiconductors. Same thing with Qualcomm, another big one for the semiconductors as well. Tomorrow morning, Moderna, Crocs. Don't know if I really care about Crocs. Wayfair. Tomorrow after hours, you can see right here, guys, Amazon, Apple, Intel, Coinbase, some big ones there. Block, Square, whatever you want to call it. Snapchat as well. So some big ones tomorrow. ExxonMobil, Chevron to end the week. Life is a blur, man. Yeah, I mean, that's just, there's nothing I can do about it. Life is a blur, all right? Making fake Instagram accounts, it's just nothing I can do about it. All right, so that is the earnings. That's the economic. Let's go into the NASDAQ futures. PIF, QQQ is up because it bounced off the 100 SMA, brother. I mean, I know, I can tell you don't want it to be up, PIF, today. I can tell that. But that's just the simple fact, brother. It held the 100 SMA. It's just a pop. And it's the same reason we dropped here. We're popping off that double bottom low from that Thursday low. It's nothing but a same exact thing it's been doing all week, right? We pop here. We drop here. We pop here. We drop here. We pop here. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. It is just another technical bounce. And it's the same way. The reason we went here is the same reason we went here. There's really nothing material to the moves that have happened, right? There is no meaning to anything that's happened over the last 4 trading days. That's all it is, right? It's just a trade within the channel. Here's your channel low. Here's your channel high. And, I mean, it's just technical levels, right? It's just technical levels. So, I mean, there's really no reason. There's really nothing to explain here. I mean, at 456 demand, SPY, double bottom lows here, right? You can see right here, 539, 539. That's it. So, let's get into the levels and let's just talk about what happened yesterday. So, NASDAQ futures, you can see right here. NASDAQ futures, we had our nice drop yesterday. Pretty much straight off the open, very weak. You saw that weakness in the tape. Pretty much just coming off that supply high at 19,380, 19,380, 19,380, 19,380 as we approach that level. Nice downside move. We did drop under that 100 SMA. When we failed under that 100 SMA, we saw that aggressive downside come in. We moved down into that 18,800 on the NASDAQ futures. Now, if we go out to the 4-hour chart, that is right here, right? That's this 18,800. That's this 18,800. That's this 18,800 demand that steps back from back in late May, early June, and then back in March. So that held very strong. That lined up with that ES demand, and it lined up with that QQQ 100 SMA. So if we go to the 15-minute chart, we can see we had a very strong double bottom low form around that 18,800. And after hours, just to sort of grinded higher, and we have pretty much just reverted to the mean, right? That's pretty much all we've done. So is this a meaningful move? I couldn't tell you. I don't think it is. Not quite yet. We've talked about upside not being meaningful until it actually breaks over a supply high, right? The upside has not been meaningful on this market until it actually breaks over a supply high. And so our supply high has been very clearly 19,380 for the last week and a half, right? That has been our very clear supply high. We've seen those rejections come in 19,380, 19,380, 19,380. So is this that meaningful? No, right? We could simply look at this today. FOMC could come out, Meta earnings could come out, and we could do this right again, right? There's nothing stopping this market from coming up into this 19,380, getting smashed right off that level, and seeing downside right back into that 18,800, sorry, right? So, right, it's just a reversion to the mean. We're basically just in that channel still. You did get that pop to the upside off that demand low, but there is nothing meaningful about this move until we actually break over key levels, and we definitely are still trading below 19,380, guys. So please be careful of that level today before you get too excited on the upside move, which I know looks nice right now, right? We still need to be aware of that 19,380. That is no doubt the place we need to be careful of. If we pop into this and we start to see weakness today, we could possibly get a pullback maybe back to that 100 SMA, 19,050, right? Or maybe even if it gets really weak, back to that 18,800. If we get a pullback to that 19,050, I think this is an interesting spot to look for longs today, right? This is right here. This is right here. Back at these 100 SMA levels, right here. I think that could be a very interesting long today to keep an eye out for. If we do get that sort of smash off that 380 level or that, that supply rejection, look to see how it trades back into that 100 SMA. Look to see if it comes back to here and then starts to hold. That could be an interesting spot for some intraday longs. If we do get over the 380 today, I think you will trade to the 525, right? You can see right here. I think you will trade to the 525, which I'll show you in a second, or the 19650. The 525, if I go out to the 4-hour chart, is right here. It's that little, it's nothing major, right? It's not a major level, but it definitely had a little reaction back on that day we flowed through it. It's this little 525 spot right here. So above that 380, I say you watch 525, and I say you watch the 650, okay? And then above that, you got the 50 SMA at 750. I still believe there is a possibility, and I'll go ahead and make this more clear, right? I still think there is a good possibility, of course, if the markets do find some strength, of course, that's a big if. But if we do start to find some strength over the 380 today, or let's call it, you might even want to watch this 400. All right, I'm going to go ahead and drop down into this in a second. But what I want to get across here, guys, is take a look at this NASDAQ market, right? See this zone? I'm gonna mark out a zone for you. It's right here. See this zone right here? This is, let me include there, right? Look at that zone right there. See that zone? This is straight up, and this is straight down, right? And so this is sort of like a vacuum. This zone is like a vacuum on this market. So if we do get above these highs right here, which is around that 19,380, 19,400, I think you will see the market be relatively quick, right, back into possibly that 730 area, right? Back into that 50 SMA, back into these lows, right? I think that's very possible. And would that be anything? That would be nothing but just a nice little retracement on this market, right? That's all that is. Nothing crazy, but a good retracement, in my opinion, on this market. So you can see you have a very clear sort of vacuum zone here on the NASDAQ futures in between this area and in between this area, right? So very interesting, right? Very interesting. If you get above that 400, that 380 area, it could be sort of, it could be a quick trade, right? I think a very quick trade. I actually might move this up to 400, guys, because I'm starting to think that I want to be a little bit protective into that 400. So I actually might change our 19,380 supply up into 19,400, because I'm looking over here at 19,400, right? And I'm looking at, if I go to the 5-minute chart here, actually, let me go to the hourly chart. Yeah, I think it's smart. I think we move this into 19,400, guys. So if you got that 19,380 level on your charts, I say you move that up to 19,400. You can see right here, 19,400 definitely did get smacked down here on Thursday. So to be a little bit cautious today, I'd say move that level up to 19,400 just to be ultra cautious today. But above that 19,400, there's that vacuum zone into that 750, okay? These are some intermediary levels, right? They're not major ones. Really, the major one is 750, but I would still watch the 525. I'd still watch the 650, all right? All right, this is even better explained on the QQQ, and here's why. Take a look at this on the QQQ, right? Look at this chart on the QQQ. Take a look at the zone that we just talked about on the Qs. This is the zone I'm talking about. Above 468 on the QQQ. Look at this trading, right? See this? See how this is just vertically down? If we get above 468, I think you will trade into that 474. And that is right back into that 50 SMA. And I think this would be a very quick trade, right? Through here between 468 and 474, I think could be a very quick trade. As you went straight down here, I think you could go straight up here. This would be a very important rejection point, though, right? This could be a very major rejection point. You have to be aware of that. Right here at 474 could just be sort of that retracement and the ultimate rejection spot for more downside. There's no doubt, right? Because this is still a major structure, and this could just be that sort of structure high level, right? So you got to be careful at that 474 still, right? What could happen is really you could get that little, bull trap, in over 468 into 474. People maybe get a little bit too excited there, and then that 50 SMA rejects, that previous low rejects, and this could cause that next downside move. So if you do long over 468 today, I would say be a profit taker at 474 just to protect yourself, because that is without a doubt still a downtrending move and definitely still a potential rejection point, right? 474 is still right here, guys. Look how major this is. This is no joke, right? Look at this. Previous low, previous low, previous low. That was the major previous channel low, right? And so pushing higher from here into 474 is not anything that's breaking, that's turning this structure bullish, right? That is still bearish. Even above 468, it's still bearish, right? So got to be careful there, right? Got to be careful there. See this? Previous low, previous low, previous low. 50 SMA there as well. That's right. That's a little dangerous. Okay. So gotta be open and aware of that today. 474, be aware of that on the Qs. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Reen. I mean, it's just, I'm just throwing out the cautionary flags, man. That's all I'm doing. That's why I'm here. So 468, if you get above that level, watch 474. 474. Now, if you break over 474, that's interesting, okay? Back over 474, I think, is very interesting for whether this market has sort of caught its footing again, right? Back over 474 is back over these major lows. That could be very important for the market. Now, I don't know if you get that, but that is something you look out for, okay? You just got to know about it. You got to be, right? The key thing here, guys, is to know the importance of your levels intraday without having to do this analysis, right? So when I'm trading today, and if I see the Qs at 474, I already know what's going on here, right? I've already done my analysis. I know exactly what's going on here, and it gives me an edge, right? So I don't need to look back on the 4 hours, say, okay, hold on, what's going on here, right? I already know it. I'm already in tune with it. Being in tune with these levels, very important. So 468, 474, very big. Keep an eye on those levels today. Yesterday, really big holds at that 100 SMA and that 456. Very nice. And reclaim the 460. Important as well. So all eyes here today, guys. All eyes at the 468. ES futures, man, it's pushing right into supply again. This could be the morning smackdown. Who knows, right? This is exactly, once again, where you open the day at the supply highs and you get the bam, right? It's very possible. So we have to be aware of that. Here's the S&P 500 in the short term for now. You guys can see right here. We had those previous demand lows from Thursday of last week, which we tested again yesterday, and it did the exact same thing, right? We went from demand lows to supply highs, demand lows to supply highs, right? It's pretty much the exact same move. What happened since that move here? We pretty much just rejected that supply high, and we moved back to the downside. Now today, what are we going to see, right? Are we going to see that same move where we reject that supply high and move back to the downside, right? The same thing that happened here. Or, right, are we going to see the final, are we finally going to get that break above? That's the question mark today, and that's a big question mark. 55.35, 55.40, you guys can see it. It's very clear right here. Previous major rejections. You're right at it again this morning. Do you get this breakout? Let's think about this logically, right? Do we get this breakout before FOMC? Tough, right? Very tough. So let's just be, let's be cautious. Let's make sure we're watching. Let's make sure we're actually reading the price action here. Let's not do anything to, sort of front run this move. If we get a legit break and a legit hold today, that could be very nice for some upside opportunity. But let's make sure we're watching this intraday. Let's make sure we're not front running this. This could absolutely be another rejection point before FOMC today, right? Make sure we are watching this, all right? If we go out to the hourly chart, we can see how important this level is. Let me go actually to the 4 hour. So 4 hour chart, pretty messy in this area back here, but definitely had importance, right? You can see right here, definitely had importance around that 55.40, 55.35. You also have that major previous low right there. Above that level, I think you trade into the 55.70. If I go into the 30-minute chart, you guys can see. Let me zoom out. Right, if you get above that 55.40, I think you trade right into here. 55.70, 55.70, 55.70, 55.70. Okay? That's probably your next trade. If you get above that 40, You probably trade into the 70. You probably trade near that daily 20 SMA as well. All right. If you get above, I think if you get above that 55.70, then I think you, obviously the next test is that 20 SMA, which is actually lining up pretty well with these highs. Hold on. It's right around here. 55, yeah, it's 55.90. Okay. Let me put that on our charts. Let me put 55.90 on our charts. We need to have that on there. So 55.90, let's make sure we have that level. 55.90 is right here. Let me go to the hourly chart and zoom over right here. See this? 55.90 right there. That would be my next spot, right? That would be my next spot. 55.90 right there, right? That 20 SMA. Keep an eye on that area. So if you get above 40, 55.70, 55.90. Those are my two spots I'd be careful of, okay? If you get above 40, of course, right? So 40, 70, 90. 40, 70, 90. Above 90, that's pretty good, right? Above 90, you go to 56.30. Okay, SPY. SPY's trying to get through that 548 here. If we go to the 4-hour chart, you guys can see, I'm actually going to go to the hourly chart. Let me go and show you guys real quick the short-term stuff. You can see right here, right? 539, 539, 539, 539, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. A little double bottom low there from yesterday. We got above that 543. Yesterday, the 543 retest was sick. Sick, 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 right? That was an awesome trade. We had that on Instagram. I'm actually going to post a video about that one today. 543, that was just a sweet break and retest yesterday. Congrats if you guys caught that. Also, some late day rejections at 543 again. So 543 was definitely an influential level yesterday. And we are back above it today, right? And look what happened when we reclaimed that 543 this morning. Look at that right there. So we had previous lows. We had rejections yesterday, and we turned it back into support. And that's sort of where that market took off from. So back over that 543, back over that 50 SMA, that's big, right? That's big. That's important. So keep an eye on that 543, okay? Keep an eye on that 543. If we get a pullback to 543, I would be watching that, right? I'd be watching that 543 for a pullback long personally. I think that's a great spot to be watching out for, right there at that 50 SMA. If we get a pullback into 543, keep an eye on that long opportunity. If you hold above 548 today, I think you're going to trade into that 551, right? Above 548, I think you trade into 551. That would be my next level, okay? 548, 551, and that daily 20 SMA above. So we just got some data here. Employment cost index? Let me take a quick look at this. What did we just get? We just got the, employment cost index. Thank you, Hamish, for sending that. 0.9 versus 1%. Okay. Really not much of a reaction here. So sitting right at the 548 to start the morning, guys. That's going to be very interesting. That's going to make it, it's going to make it an interesting morning, right? You're basically opening the morning right at the ES supply, the SPY supply, the NASDAQ supply, I believe, as well. Yeah, pretty close to that 19.4 and pretty damn close right into that 468. So, yeah, I mean, this could be that classic, sort of morning upside, little early morning rejection type play. It's very possible, so we need to be aware of these supplies still today. There's no doubt about it. IWM, nice little hold around that 222. Nice hold around that 220.3, right? So sort of stair-stepping higher over the last 2 days. It's, to me, the IWM just sort of getting hard to trade as it sits right under this major supply. We're sort of just hovering below this major rejection point. So it's sort of getting difficult. I think you want like a major pullback at this point. I mean, 222 is a good level, but it's been sloppy to me. Like I'd almost just want to trade it off of like 219. All right, that sort of feels like the cleanest level here for me. Like down to here, if I can get a pullback to 219, then maybe I'd look for more. Because I just don't really have interest in longing the IWM right into this 227, especially not from like 224. Maybe you can, right? If you're just scalping her, you can catch a little piece there. It looks like it's like 224, 223.60, right in here, right? 223.60. You can see these previous highs, I think, are something to watch. You can see right here, right? Previous high, previous high, previous high, previous high. Trying to hold right now. So if you do hold that level, I could see, a little bit of upside scalp action. Just please be careful up here, right? This is a daily chart major supply at 227, guys. All right? All right. Where are we at? So SPY, yeah, she's flirting with the 548. She's flirting. All right. Press that like button if you guys could. We got 700 people here. Appreciate you guys for being here. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're about to jump into some stocks. Let's get into some stocks. Here we go. Tesla. So, unfortunately, won and lost on Tesla yesterday. I won on the intraday, but I did lose on a swing trade. I had a swing trade on Tesla yesterday. I was looking for that upside continuation. Was looking for that break and retest of 226, which I thought looked very good. But ultimately, just a weak day on the market, failed under 226, and I had to take my loss on that thing. So, took my loss on the swing trade, but then went ahead and scalped some Tesla intraday to make back those losses, which I am happy about, right? That's great. But yeah, so that swing trade idea sort of broke down, and I can sort of see why, right? I'm looking back at this chart, and I can understand why my swing trade idea broke down. We had the previous lows here. We had the previous lows here, right? And look at just how perfect that was, right? That is just absolutely perfect. So, yeah, that the larger term level just sort of messed me up there at that 236. Had some longs off that 226. Was up into nice profit yesterday morning, but ultimately it did fail that level, and I had to get stopped out. Right? That's trading. Right? If I didn't get stopped out yesterday at 226, I would have had to sit into it in the 220. Right? We had to get stopped out. We had to stick to our loss and keep that loss manageable. So today, we're going to look for the same thing, right? Let's take a look at that 236. That's that 236, right? Look at how clear that is. Previous lows, previous lows. Look at that beautiful rejection on Tesla yesterday. That's an awesome little break and retest rejection, right? Very, very nice there. So that's a very big level to be keeping eyes on Tesla, guys. You can very clearly see it. So make sure you're aware of 236 moving forward on the upside. That's going to be your major supply high. Make sure you have that marked. Above that, you got the 245. Now today, it looks like it's all about the 226 again, right? Take a look at this. 226 is, again, looks to be that level, right? 226, 226, 226. So it looks to me like 226 is your level today. So be aware of that, right? Be aware of that. 226, it very well could be a rejection play today. We could get weak here again, maybe trade back down to that 220, right? Maybe trade back down to that 215. So be aware of that 226 today. That's your big spot. If you can get a clarity move above it, I think you can possibly trade higher. I'd say into that 230 spot is where I'd be cautious next, right? Above 226, maybe into that 230. If you really get moving today, right, you could trade back higher into that 236. But before any of that happens, you got to see a clear hold over this 226, right? Look at how clear that 226 has been stuck. And so be aware of that today, guys. That's your level to watch, 226 on Tesla. All right. Nvidia. So Nvidia, we talked about that 112 rejection yesterday. We talked about those previous lows coming in at 112. And in the pre-market, we sort of adjusted our level. If you guys remember this from yesterday, we adjusted our level yesterday in the pre-market to 112 in the live stream. And we said, watch for those 112 rejections. And man, do I wish I followed my advice there, because that was insane. What a beautiful rejection of 112 yesterday. Beautiful wick at that level and just straight down pretty much off that level. So congrats, guys, if you caught that Nvidia fade off 112. That was a thing of beauty. And so today we find ourselves right back at it. So maybe I get a second chance at it, right? Who knows? Maybe I get a second chance at it. So I'd be watching the 112 today, right? Can we get another pop into 112 and can we get another rejection? That's very possible, right? No doubt. Let's keep an eye on this. 112, 112, that's a big spot. Let's be aware of what it does there today. So let's look for that weakness to step in once again. Let's see if we get some downside pressure on the market. And if we do, I think we can try to fade Nvidia. Now, on the flip side, if Nvidia does get a squeeze over 112 today, that could absolutely be the reason for some long opportunities. That would be a beautiful hold back over yesterday's highs. All right, that would be very nice. So keep an eye on 112 both sides today, guys. I think this will be a very nice trade to either side. 112, if we can get above it, look for that break and retest long, possibly up into that 116.50. If we get that rejection of 112 today, look for those shorts, right? That could be a beautiful rejection once again. Okay? Nvidia is an awesome stair step down. It's been an awesome stair step lower. But here's what I would be watching, guys, okay? Here's your daily chart on Nvidia. Yesterday, you got down into the 101 to 100 area right here. You haven't quite filled the gap into 97, so there is still that looming gap fill, right? That's still very possible. Maybe it happens on FOMC, who knows? But I would, right, guys, this is something you need to remember, okay? This is just something you're going to have to take away here in terms of just larger term macro ideas. Nvidia has been a great short for the last month, right? We have shorted Nvidia almost for the last entire month. You guys have seen some big trades come out of me. I'm sure out of you guys as well, right? There has been so much opportunity to short Nvidia over the last month, over the last 2-3 weeks, right? You are coming into, or you are approaching, right? You are closer to this demand now than you are to like some of these major supplies, right? So it's going to start to get more difficult to short Nvidia. There's no doubt about it, okay? As you start to approach these big levels, this 101.50, the $100 psych level, the 97 gap fill level, in this whole area, it's going to get more and more difficult to get follow through on the downside, okay? So you need to start alleviating yourself of those Nvidia FOMO short ideas, because if you haven't had it yet, if you haven't taken advantage of it yet, I would say you missed it, right? I would say you pretty much missed the entire downside move. This is about a 40% downside move on Nvidia from the highs, right? 140 down to 100 is about, it's not about 40%. It's about 30%, 40 points, sorry, about 30% from the highs. It's going to start to get more difficult just in terms of technicals to short this thing down into this 97, down into this 100, right? You're going to start getting those buyers stepping in. You're going to start getting that sort of wiki, downside action. That's sort of like what you're seeing now, right? You're going to start seeing this type of straight down, that really quick back up, those buyers stepping in down at these major demands down below, right? 97, 101, that 100 SMA as well is sitting right there. So I would just, anywhere here, guys, anywhere under that 100 SMA, I would not be a short seller of Nvidia. I really don't think it's smart. There's been plenty of opportunities to fade Nvidia, right? We took this break and retest of 125, right? You had the 116 fails over a triple, right? 3 days, you had 116 fails on Nvidia at the previous lows. That is textbook short action. And now, right, if you didn't catch this might have been that final day, right? Yesterday could have been, that final day where all the shorts just sort of milked it. And so I would just start to be careful. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Nvidia has bottomed. I'm never here to call bottoms. That's not what I do. But I will say in terms of technicals, yes, you are starting to approach some really big levels that I would not really mess with. Okay, so the 100 SMA, the 101.50, the $100 psych level, and the 97 gap fill level is definitely going to be a zone that it's going to start getting jumpy, right? So be aware down there. Nvidia has not broken the stair-stepping downside, so make sure you know that, right? This upside is pretty meaningless right now. It has not broken the stair-stepping move yet, right? So you are still under the 116.50, and that's very key, right? This could still be the smackdown, right? This could still be the smackdown move. And so when I say don't short Nvidia down here, that does not mean I'm saying don't look for fades off key supplies, right? You got to make sure you understand what I'm saying here. I'm saying don't short into a hole at 100. Don't short into a hole at 97. That doesn't mean we can't look for fades off 116.50, right? If we get a nice pop on Nvidia to 116.50, yeah, sure, right? Sure. Let's look for that fade. That'd be great, right? That's a fantastic fade level. 116.50, previous double bottom lows, triple top highs. Let's look for that fade, right? Short it back into that level. But we're not going to start shorting into a hole down here, okay? All right, AMD. I didn't know AMD could go higher, but it did. AMD finally showing something of strength. 153 and the 200 SMA is just the smackdown level to be careful of today, guys. That's a huge level. 153, 200 SMA. You can see that's exactly where it's failing today. So that's going to be a tough spot to get over for AMD. I would say look for a pullback right here to 145. That could be an interesting little pullback long idea today on AMD. 145 has been that major rejection spot right here. You can see 145, 145. That could be a nice little long spot today. Keep an eye on that 145. If AMD gets over 153, it probably trades up in the 157. That would be my next spot. And you can just see here on the 4-hour chart, guys, right? Where did AMD end up holding? Well, it's holding a pretty major level here, right? Look at this 4-hour chart. This is back from January of this year. This is back from the start of this year at 133. You can see it held again. So a big, big spot and a very important hold for AMD. If AMD went down on earnings yesterday, we were going to be negative on the year for AMD. So that would have been pretty nasty. Let's go speed round now because I did spend probably a little bit too much time on Nvidia, but I think it is important because Nvidia has been a great trade, man. If you could just zone in on Nvidia lately, you can make a lot of money, right? All you've had to do lately is trade Nvidia, and it's been just some juicy, juicy stuff. So, 164 on TSM right here, 164, 164, 164. Jake, if you're being charged from me, you just gotta cancel your subscription, man. Send me an email. I'll refund every charge since you said you canceled. I'll be more than happy to refund any charge that is incorrect. I'm not here to take your money if you don't want to be part of the community. So send me an email, send me a DM if you have already. Sorry I didn't get back to you. Send it to me again. I'll be on the lookout for it again. Send me another email today and I'll get you right. 164, you guys can see right here, 164, previous low, 164, 164. You guys can see that right there. Watch that on TSM today, guys. If you get above that TSM 164, that could be an interesting long, right? That could be an interesting long. Watch that 164. Could also be a very interesting rejection, okay? Let's go to SMCI because SMCI, look at those wicks, guys, off that 200 SMA, right? Very nice. We talked about that 200 SMA on SMCI. Take a look at that level, right? Look at that hold at the 200 SMA on SMCI. Very big on that stock. We're back above 690. I would be very interested to look for longs off of 690, right? That would be very nice. 690 could be sort of that spot, guys. I would watch 690 today on SMCI. It's definitely a nice recovery off that 200, no doubt about it, right? A nice bounce off that 200 SMA. You're back above 690. Yeah, that's what I would look for, right? That's what I would look for. Keep an eye on that level. If you can hold that level and the market does show some strength, I would say SMCI can likely push back up. I would say back in towards this 760 area, in my opinion, if you can get something legit off that 690. But, of course, earnings are next week, so it might be a little tough. Either way, 690 is a big level there. Broadcom. This is an interesting one here today. This is an interesting one here today. You guys can see right here. Broadcom has pulled back very nicely off the highs. Very nicely off the highs from 185 down into this $140 area. It's about a 23% drop. If I make this a blank chart, look at where Broadcom has pulled back to. Broadcom has pulled back right into the previous zones, right? Right back into these previous highs. And is this a new low? This is very interesting to me. Broadcom had fantastic earnings, right? And I do like that it's pulled back post earnings. It just was too much, right? This is way too much. This gap up, this gappy action, just way too much. So this is fantastic. Pullback here is fantastic. I would love to see if this can hold this 140, 145 zone. If we can start developing holds here, I think this could be a really big opportunity. This is probably a swing trade that I will be eyeing for the next few weeks. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Right? You can see already the willingness to pop off that 143 area, the willingness to pop off those previous highs on this 4-hour chart, the willingness to pop off that 100 SMA there. This could be an interesting one. I'm definitely watching it. We need to get over 155 and the 50 SMA to make me feel a little bit more confident, right? Right here. 155 and that 50 SMA, I need a break over that to feel a little bit more confident. So let's be aware of that. Look at that 100 SMA hold yesterday. Let's go to Microsoft. Microsoft, whoa. Oh, shit. Yeah, Microsoft. I didn't expect it to get through this. Okay, so Microsoft had a drop, lock, and pop. That's pretty much what it did. It dropped, it locked, it popped. Back to that 417. Big hold on the 4-hour chart of a pretty monstrous level for Microsoft. Sort of needed to hold this or it was going to be red for the year, which is pretty nasty. So you can see right here, this 388 level, big holds, big holds, big holds. 417 is, I think, the level it needs to hold above for it to actually push back higher. You guys can see right here. 417, 417, 417, 417. You can see it flushed through that yesterday. It started to reject here, and now you're testing it again. So I just watched 417 here today on Microsoft. If that holds above it, it's probably just going to sort of grind higher. You know, sort of just recover the entire drop. 417 is the level to watch. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. When did this happen? I liked Google this morning, but now it's sort of gone. Shit. Yeah, I liked this 100 SMA hold on Google. You guys can see right here. Look at how beautiful that little 100 SMA hold is. This is why I love the daily SMAs, man. They definitely get respected, right? Look at this. Look at that daily 100 right there, just sort of keeping this stock higher. Google really pushing higher this morning. I had an alert, right? You can see I already had my alert set at 175. If Google gets over 175, that is a very interesting long here. I will definitely be watching Google today. I think this thing's got a little bit of juice behind it. I like how earnings is passed. I think that's very good, right? I do like how earnings is passed, so I don't have to worry about that. And so 175, that's going to be my spot, right? That's going to be my spot. If we can get over 175, I'm going to look for longs today into that 180. Let's go to Amazon. Amazon's been sort of shitty lately, but I would just say watch that 186, guys. That's a big spot there. Netflix, watch that 630 level today. That's been a big spot on Netflix. Let's go to Meta real quick. Meta had a very nice double bottom low at that 450, right? 450, 450. You guys can see that right there. I would assume Meta trades back into the 480 at some point, but I just don't really like Meta here because I think 480 could be some nasty rejections, right? 480, 480. You could try to trade it into 480 off of the 460. Right, you could try to long the 460 into the 480, but yeah, just be careful of that 480 level above. What did I miss? What did I miss? Let me see here. What did I miss? Boeing. Well, let's go to Boeing real quick. We'll go to Coinbase as well. Let's go to Boeing. Oh, Apple. Yeah, we got to go to Apple. Shit. Yeah, I'll go to Apple. All right, so Boeing real quick before you get all chasey on this stock, please watch out for 198, guys. This is a huge level on Boeing. 198 in the 200 SMA. That's a must-break level before you're even interested at all. Coinbase, watch out for this 234, right? 234, keep an eye on that. That's a big spot, a big potential rejection. 234, if you get above it, that could be longs. And last but not least, Apple. This is definitely a top watch for me today. We've been sort of eyeing this Apple over 220, and I like how Apple has been consolidating, and if it can hold above these channel highs at 220 today, I think it trades right back into that 223, and I would love to scalp this move. So watching 223, watching the 220 today on Apple. What's Nvidia up to? Yeah, Nvidia's still under that 112, guys, so it's getting stuck. We got to be careful of that 112. Tesla's still under that 226 as well. All right, let's get a quick update on the futures, on the SPY, the NASDAQ, all that good stuff. NASDAQ still under 19.4. Still under 19.4. All right, still under 19.4. Be aware of that 19.4 today. If we do get above it, then I would like that upside continuation. QQQ, very clear, 468. Let's watch out for that 468. SPY's a little bit stronger, right? SPY has officially broken out of that upside, of that rejection point. So now, what are you looking for? You're looking for that 548 pullback. You're looking for that 548 hold. On the ES, you're looking for that very nice 55.40, 55.35 hold today. If you can get that, I think that frees up the upside move. All right. Let me go ahead and make this green because now we are above it. So we'll look at that as a new support level. Same thing with the SPY. I'll make sure to put this as a green level. Make sure I'm watching the 548 today to see if that turns into a support. HIMS. Steven, we'll see. HIMS reports earnings next week, I think. Yeah, August 5th. That's gonna be the big event. So we'll see. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. Hope you enjoyed some of the things we talked about. If you did, press that like button, subscribe. Some big levels today, guys, and I would think of today as two parts, okay? I would think of your early morning day from 9:30 to around 11 o'clock. I'd think about that as your normal trading day. Take your scalps, take your trades, take your profits, and then I would sort of reassess the day after 2:30, after 2 o'clock, right? After that FOMC. Make sure you understand. Could be a tale of two days, tale of two sides today. What's that saying? A tale of two moves? I don't know what the hell it is, but you get what I'm saying. We could see two separate types of moves today. You can get that morning squeeze upside. You can get that FOMC smackdown, right? We got to be on our toes today. Be profit taking. Always be taking profits today on a day like today. And make sure you are at a minimal risk into that 2 o'clock, 2:30. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Press that like button, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.